Hey y'all, what is up? It is Red back again with another video. So today y'all, we're going to do a little story time about one of my security companies that I did work with. Now if you guys have not kept up with me, I have worked at multiple different security companies. This is going to be one. It's called MarksmanSmith Security Company. Okay, if you guys have worked there, comment down below, let me know your experience. This was around the time when COVID hit, and I found them by just Googling different security companies by me and, you know, applying online and going in person. Basically, I had applied online. They called me asking to come in for another interview. So I came in, they asked me my hours, my security experience, you know, the whole la-di-da-di-da on an interview. They had told me they was gonna call me back because they wanted to background check me, and they said they was gonna call me back and see if they wanted to proceed with having me as a security guard for their company. They had called me back probably about 2 weeks later, and when I went in there, I had to do a drug testing. They gave me a paper, basically a bunch of signing documents on all taxes and everything, and then also I had another piece of paper I had to write down like what I wanted from them. So like if I needed slacks, a shirt, boots, stuff like that, like I had to write all that down, and they was gonna take it out my first check. Okay, so keep that in mind. So I had wrote down that I already had, you know, slacks, I just needed shirts. They gave me one shirt, by the way, and I asked for boots, which they never gave me as well, but they took it out my first check. After that, I passed the drug test, everything like that. They told me they was gonna call me for me to go pick up my uniforms. So a whole week passed, or 2 weeks passed. I went to the place, well, the location that they gave me to go pick up my uniforms, right? So I went to go pick up my uniforms and stuff like that. And it was Hispanic ladies, and I had to tell them my name, of course, for me to get the uniforms, right? And when I did, they started looking at me and laughing. Like they sized me up and they started laughing and talking in Spanish. Keep in mind, y'all, I know a little bit of Spanish, but I don't know that much fucking Spanish. I could just tell, just based off of their demeanor and them looking at me talking shit, that they was clearly talking shit about me, because like they was laughing. They probably thought I was there to steal or something, so they had to actually contact the manager to see if it was me legit coming to come pick up the uniforms, which I feel like is racist. On to that, after I picked up the uniforms, they told me I could start work within the next 2 weeks. They was gonna find me a location to work at. And they found me a location in Katy to work at. It was a plaza, so it was basically a whole bunch of stores mixed in one. It was more than like 5 stores. It was probably like about 30. They had like Ray-Bans, the Nike stores, stuff like that, and restaurants in the plaza. I had went there for my first day, and of course, like this was around the time when I had my regular hair out, so I didn't wear wigs. I was wearing my regular hair because I was broke than a motherfucker, okay? I was broke as shit. It took me forever to even find the fucking building. The building is ducked off. It's like behind other buildings. So like you could not find it unless you get out your car and walk in a circle, because like I said, it's behind other buildings. So I had got there and I got confused, so I had to call the people. They told me where to go, stuff like that. So I walked up in there. When I walked in there, it basically was like, okay, you need to sign in. There was a paper that you had by the front desk where you had to write down like whenever you got there, and you had to write down your name and the time and everything like that. There was a person that sat like in the booth or whatever. They had cameras in there and everything, and you had to just sit there and wait. I had to wait for other people to come in, because supposedly I wasn't the only person that they hired that day to come. It was other like 3 other people or whatever, 4 other people. So once all the people came in, we went in a back room and they talked to us about everything. They told us where everything was at, like in the building. They told us like what the protocols to do. They told us who everybody was, who's gonna be training us, stuff like that basically. Probably about like an hour, and then we had to sit in the lobby for like another 2 hours, and then we finally went and they had to train us on golf carts and shit like that. So we had to go on golf carts with different people, and they trained us about the area. So we had to go around the golf carts around the whole area. They told us where everything was at, what to do, what not to do. They gave us like a piece of paper, because we had walkie-talkies, so they said like that's how they connect with one another, is through walkie-talkies. And keep in mind, y'all, I've been a security guard for a very long time. Don't get me wrong, I have like did security stuff with walkie-talkies, but it was never like super serious. Like 9 times out of 10, when you're a security guard, they don't really care about walkie-talkies. They don't really like, that's not the main thing that you do at your job. I don't have much experience when it comes to walkie-talkies. I know how to turn one on. I know what 10-4 means and stuff like that, but I don't know all this other bullshit, okay? So keep that in mind throughout the video, because this was a very like horrible experience with MarksmanSmith. I would recommend nobody work there. Like, don't even try to apply there, because they don't give a fuck about you. They trained us the whole entire time, by the way. Keep that in mind. So we was on a golf cart I was on a golf cart with a dude, with a black dude with an afro. for the whole entire time. And he was just, you know, showing me the protocols, what to do and not to do and shit like that. So he was just like, oh, you just drive around every hour. That's all you do is just drive around a golf cart every hour, and they'll have you at a specific location and you just switch out with the other person every couple hours. So like one person will be over here at this parking garage and another person will be over here at this parking garage and shit like that. So it was really just, the main job was just to drive around in a golf cart. That's really it. You was just driving around a golf cart looking at shit. That's all you had to do. And if people were there, you just kindly tell them to leave. That was it. Easy job, right? Not so much, okay? Mine already had security experience before that. So that's why I was just shook, because I didn't realize that they are super strict about the most dumbest shit. First day was cool. We went back to the main lobby or whatever, just chilled, talked or whatever. The second day I had came, that was when it was worse. Okay, that's when it was worse. Once the second day hit, I went in there and they had me sitting there for about 3 hours before I could actually get in a golf cart and actually do everything. And they was talking about, now you gotta do everything on your own. So we only had 1 day of training, which I'd never been around with a security guard. Usually when you're a security guard, if they do train you that fast, 9 times out of 10, they know that you might fuck up on certain shit, okay? So, especially if they want you to do all these protocols and all this other bullshit. I did not bring my sheet of paper because I was rushing when I had to go to work. My work hours for this location was actually, I think it was 12 a.m. It was either 11 or 12 a.m. up until 8 a.m. in the morning. So, it was weird hours or whatever. And then keep in mind, y'all, I had another job. I had 2 security jobs at the time. I had MarksmanSmith, and I was also working at the company that I work at now. And my hours was 8 a.m. to 5 at this location, at my other job. So I had to get to my other job by 8 o'clock. And keep in mind, I got off at 8 o'clock at this location. And when I got back the first time, like the first day when we got back, they actually let us out early. They let us out like around 7:50, 7:40. So I did get to my job on time or whatever, because my job was literally 20 minutes away. So the second time, I was very irritated. I had went up there and we separated. They had us be in our own golf cart. And they had us like basically partner up with other new people. So I was partnered up with this dude named Jay. That's his real name. He's cool as fuck. So me and him was partnered up for at least half of our shift, at least 4 hours. And then they wanted us to separate and do it by ourselves and stuff like that. So when we was partnered up and stuff, he was saying that he didn't remember all the protocols either, but he brought the sheet of paper. But he was like, I don't remember everything on the walkie-talkie either. And they was telling us like every hour we could switch. Like he says something, then I say something. He says something, then I say something. And I was like, that's pointless if we're both with each other. Why can't one person just do the thing, do the whole thing by themselves? Like it's just pointless. So he was doing it most of the time, and then we split up, and they didn't really tell us exactly what to do or when to come back or anything like that. Like we had to figure out everything by ourselves. We did not know when to actually go back to the lobby. We did not know certain other protocols. We did not know about a lot of different things. So me and him was confused when we would talk on the phone. We would be like, bro, what's going on? Like, what do we do? This, that, and third, this, that, and third. Me and him met up and we was just like, let's just go on the golf cart together. So we did that and they got pissed. They got highly pissed. But it's like, if you're not really training your employees like that, and we don't really know too much about the plaza, we don't even know all the stores in the plaza. And then it was saying like all these different garages was garage A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like nobody's gonna remember what parking garage is A, what parking garage is B. You're not gonna remember that in 2 days. I'm sorry. Like nobody's that fucking smart. You're not gonna remember that shit, especially when you got other shit going on in your life. I just couldn't, he didn't even remember that shit. So that's what I meant. Like we just didn't really know what was going on. We kind of forgot a bunch of stuff. They was trying to bombard us with a bunch of information in one day. Like we was gonna remember all that shit. After the second day, we had to meet with one of the managers, which was, I forgot what his name was, Ocean or something like that. So we had went back around, I think like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. We had to go back there and we had to speak with him. And he was just telling us like about everything that we've been doing and what he does for the company, and to contact him if there's any problems, this, that, and the third. And then they had the actual owner come and criticize our outfits. So they were talking about, oh, y'all can't leave yet. Keep in mind, it was already 8 a.m. And me and him was just sitting there like, bitch, we gotta go. Like, we're not getting paid for sitting here listening to y'all talk after 8 a.m. They're not paying us extra, like an extra 30 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So I've never been at a security job where you have to stay an extra 30 minutes or an extra hour and they're not gonna pay you for that. So me and him was just like, bro, we got stuff to do. I wanna go home, this, that, and third. Jay knew I had another job. So he understood why I had to get the fuck up and go. So I was there exactly at 8 a.m. and the dude didn't come till 20 minutes later. So when the dude come, he was criticizing us. He was talking about our hair, he was talking about our shoes, he was talking about our outfits, all different types of stuff. And I'm just like, I bought shoes and nobody gave me shoes. And I told him that the first day and the second day. And still no shoes, you know? So they were literally criticizing us, talking shit, like, and it wasn't that fucking serious. I'm sorry, it just wasn't. So probably about 8:25, 8:30, and when me and him got out, we was pissed. He was like, I really don't want to work here anymore because I didn't know it was like this. I didn't know that we had to get out at 8:30 and we're not getting paid for this, that, and the third. Like, our time, we're past the time mark or whatever. So I tried to tell them, I tried to explain to them, like, bro, I got kids. I gotta go pick up my kid from school. I gotta go do this, I gotta go do that. I can't sit here and do overtime. If y'all wanted overtime, y'all should have suggested that in our payroll. You should have suggested that when we was at an interview. All that type of stuff. So he was on the same type of time. Like, he was just like, I don't see why we're staying past 8 a.m. and shit. The third day when we pulled up, he was telling me, like, they was saying basically that I don't work there no more. And nobody confided in me. Nobody texted me. Nobody called me saying that I don't work there no more. Nothing like that. So when I came and I pulled up there, I worked there the whole entire shift. And the whole entire shift, they had the manager there, and the manager, another manager, and she had us actually walk on foot instead of riding a golf cart. We walked on foot everywhere. She was showing us everything. She was all this type of stuff. And she was basically saying, like, Jay was the smart one out the group. Like, he's a fast learner, and how I'm a slow learner, and how this job might not be for me. And I was like, how am I a slow learner? How are you gonna tell somebody they're a slow learner and they only been there for 3 days? You can say that after a week or two or something like that, but 2 or 3 days, my guy, like, it's not that fucking deep, especially with all that damn information they trying to push down your fucking throat. Security job should not be that fucking hard. And it's overnight. It's not like it's a bunch of people there. It's not like it's traffic. It's not like anything is open. Why the fuck do you have to do all this shit? You know, even to go to the bathroom, you have to say a certain protocol. To go on break, you have to say a certain protocol. You have to literally tell them the streets, and you have to literally say it a certain type of way. Like, you can't just say a street. Like, let's say if you're driving around the golf cart and you're not at the parking garage, right? You have to say the street, and then you have to add like extra stuff to the protocol, which is like fucking too much. Like, I just feel like they was trying too hard to be professional, and you wasn't getting paid that much. I was getting paid $18 an hour. That was barely anything. Like, I'm not getting paid that much to, and I'm not in the military. Like, you're not an armed security guard. I'm not in the military. This is not like super professional. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know? I feel like as a security guard, they shouldn't be having you do that much if you're not getting paid over $20 an hour, especially as a first timer. Like, even if this was my first job, you're supposed to be a little bit lenient with the people that are new. It was just being rude to me, like slugging me throughout the whole time while talking to Jay. And Jay peeped that too. Like, he was just like, I don't like this company. I don't like that they're making fun of you. I don't like that they're talking shit, this, that, and the third. And he was like, I'm a first timer too. And if they was treating me like that, I would feel some type of way. We rode on the golf carts again together, and they went off on us talking about we're not supposed to do that, this, that, and the third. Somebody called me and told me, like, somebody called me later on that day. Once it was 8 o'clock a.m., me and him just left. Like, we did not, when we went to the lobby, we signed out and we just left. We did not wait. We did not sit in there and wait past 8 o'clock because we was like, bro, what the fuck are we doing that for? We're not getting paid for it. You know? So we went in our cars and left. Well, he actually went back the next day when I wasn't there. He didn't like it. When he went by himself, he didn't like it. He was talking about he quit after that. But I got a call that same day where they said, like, they no longer want me as a security guard for their company, and this, that, and the third, and this, that, and the third, right? And they said I have to come up there to go pick up my checks and stuff like that. Now, keep in mind, y'all, I worked there for literally 3 days straight, right? For 8 hours, $18 an hour, right? So tell me why when I went up there, my check was literally $160. And I got on them for that because I was like, that's not $160 worth of, I need at least $300. Like, what are you talking about? And so they kept saying, like, oh, I only worked there for 1 day, so I only have 1 day check. And then they kept saying, oh, we're gonna have to check, we're gonna have to check, we're gonna have to check. I had to keep emailing people back and forth about my motherfucking money. And my other security guard at my other company, oh, sorry, somebody calling me. But anyways, my other security guard at my other company, he told me that that's illegal. He said I can get on them and I can tell them everything. He was like, you have proof that you was there? I was like, yes, I have proof I was there. They literally have proof that I signed the little paper to clock in and out, number one. Number two, I have picture evidence. I took a picture every single time I was there. And then number 3, I had a coworker that literally can vouch for me that I was there. And he was like, that's enough evidence. And so he was like, you have to threaten them that you're gonna call the work labor people and that you're gonna sue them and shit. So I had to do that for them to give me my second check. And my first check was like 150 and my second check was like 180. So I felt like that was decent enough or whatever, because they did take money out my check for other stuff. Who the fuck? Just a lot of bullshit to that. They didn't want to give me my money. They sat there and lied and said I only went there for 1 day when I actually went there for 3 days. They told me that the manager actually told me that I got fired after the first day, which nobody told me until the third day, until I left the third day. Somebody called me like a week later and they was like, oh, you're not fired. We're just going to transfer you to a different location. You can keep your uniform, this, that, and the third, right? Keep that in mind. Entire month later, nobody contacted me, nobody called me. I still have their outfits, I still have everything, but nobody actually transferred me to a different location. They didn't fully fire me, they just didn't want me at that location anymore. And I feel like as a security company, that's unprofessional. Like, how are you gonna tell somebody that they're fired and nobody told me? You know, and I get a call from somebody else a whole couple hours later that I shouldn't be going to that location no more. Why couldn't nobody tell me when I was there? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the fact that y'all didn't keep up with the booklets, like saying that I was clocked in and stuff like that, you're unprofessional. And then for them to say that I gotta come pick up my checks, even though I have put my direct deposit information. Why do I have to pick up checks if I put my direct deposit information? They said that some reason they couldn't find my direct deposit information. Like, that company was so unprofessional and I just could not deal with it. I did not fuck with it. I'm good off of that. Like, even in the beginning process, it took a long time to even get started with that company, and to even get in contact with them people was a lot. Like, people didn't like picking up the phone. People didn't like replying to emails. MarksmanSmith, I rate you a 0. I rate you a thumbs down. You deserve the worst in life. I hope that company shuts down. I think they have bought that other company. I forgot what company it was called. But I just don't fuck with it. Like, y'all are very unprofessional. You got people that work there that's racist, that is not understanding. They act like they big and bad. You're not Ally Universal. You're not none of these security companies that's top notch. And then that's another thing too, like, one of the managers, when we was walking around on foot and stuff like that, that one day she was saying that she actually walked up to a car and knocked on the window and somebody actually shot her. And she still works there. And I even asked her, I'm like, why the fuck are you still working at this location if somebody fucking shot you? And she was just like, oh, I need a form of income. You know, I got 3 kids, this, that, and the third. I'm like, no, boo-boo, you're desperate. You're desperate. Couldn't be me. I'm not working somewhere where I got shot at. Okay, ever. And then they was talking about there's people that be high off crack there, shit like that. It was just an unsafe location in general. So I didn't mind not working there anymore, especially since it was the most easiest job and they tried to make it seem like it was hard as fuck. They tried to make it seem like you have to do this, that, and third, this, that, and third. Like, bro, I've never been in a security company where they are so strict about anything and everything and it's not that serious. I mean, I'm going to read some reviews about the company so y'all can kind of get a glimpse of what I'm saying. Not a good experience for me. They said it's unorganized. They won't let you switch positions. Paycheck, don't expect a lot out of this company. Or should I say the site that you're at, you will not move on the company. They'll only use you when they fail is necessary. Managers don't care what people do. They want walking off. They post coming in. I can't read that. It could be a good and a bad place to work at, but management is untrustworthy to work. And after they lose a contract, they will lay you off without any notice. Low-end manager, not bad, but the big dog has no idea what's going on with the consent policy changes. He only has a few he will listen to. Toxic, a lot of trash talk and crying. That is true. People are messy at that fucking job. Management only cares about themselves. Low pay, lower expectations. Good job. If you like being used and abused, will not make it there for longer than 2 months. I'm leaving. They never pay for overtime and will lie about free food and transportation to make you work double shifts. True. It's hard to do your best when the management does their all to show you that you cannot respect their decisions. Have an experienced manager blatantly lying and telling half-truths shows a weakness in character. No real support for their employees. They steal from employees. Warning, very bad company, do not work here. No support, HR department is a mess. They don't have no idea what they're doing. Be aware. Company is extremely unprofessional. Guard safety is not taken seriously. There are sites where the guard should be armed but isn't. That's what I'm saying. Waste of time. Consider working at McDonald's would be your best bet. They get paid more and have better benefits. The people in charge are greedy and don't think we have lives or a family because we expect it to be available all the time. That is true. Effective and unprofessional. You can only move up if you're on A-list. No warning about having to work over. If your relief don't show up, you don't go. No benefits. Management looks down on everybody. Unfair job assignments. Unprofessional supervisors. No communication with employees. Do not waste your time with this company. That is true. That is true. Horrible place to work at. No growth, no pay raises, no overtime, no shift differentials. Supervisors sleeping with employees. Supervisor and employees are smoking pot together while on duty. It's the most disappointing job I ever had. Would not recommend this to my worst enemy. Management is horrible. I wouldn't want any of my friends nor family members to work for this company. Now I see why when someone says they're hiring and the person say, no, I'm good. Horrible, worst job in the world. No job security. If brains were dynamite, they wouldn't blow their nose. No job security. If you were asked about your pay, they would relocate you so you had to drive excessive amount of miles. Would not recommend this to anyone. Their management does not deal with employees correctly. They hide and they don't take calls. Had trouble with pay, still waiting for my pay. They never paid in overtime at a time and a half. That is true. That's what I'm saying. Like, it took a whole entire 3 weeks for me to get my check because they didn't want to pay me. Beware if you're hired. They will call you every day for overtime. Terrible company. No structure, no sense of accountability. Beware, just don't. They don't care about their staff and won't pay you for your paid time off. Also have to pay for your uniforms and also short-staffed. That is true. Terrible place, run as fast as you can. Poor management. Do not work here. Horrible place to work at. It's a cutthroat place. Unprofessional and uncaring. The worst toxic workplace culture I've ever been in security. Wouldn't recommend. It's by far the worst security company I work for. One, they're very unprofessional. They have a 24-hour dispatch that is horrible at communicating since I worked at this company. That is true. And they don't have they don't give you you know how some security companies you can log into an app or you can they'll give you a sheet of paper on what days you work. They don't do that. They'll have to tell you from word of mouth or through an email. And I don't like that. And the fact that you can't clock in, the clocking in is by you writing it down on a piece of paper. Bad place, unproductive, worst company around, untrustworthy. This company is a joke. Worst place to work at, period, hands down. They throw you to the wolves. This company doesn't follow their policies, trash place to work at. That's what I'm saying. I just don't fuck with it. I would say run from away unless you have established a connection with the client. They're very shady in regards to what they would offer you, your pay, and your schedule. All these security companies in Houston are the same. They want the same kind of people working for them. If you go around and read the reviews at many other security companies around here, you see what I mean. They spent 2 weeks doing onboarding and training that they could have been doing the same week. Then they keep calling you, asking if you're showing up for training. I found out that they called no other people and kept asking that. So what about me made them keep calling? Then my phone went off twice in training. The third time I checked my phone because we had went through Hurricane Beryl and I was checking on my daughter. They sent me home. But that's not really why they didn't want me working there, or they have to send other people home for checking their phones. That's another thing. They did say to get off their phones and everybody there was on their phone, when I was working there. If you have talk experience, the security companies don't want you there. They want people that they think are beneath them. Just watch, LOL. They kept pandering me for reviews during training, and these 5-star ones are fake. So I had forgot to add to the video, the one that was in the lobby, making sure people signed in and stuff. He was an old African dude. He's probably about in his 40s or such. And me and everybody else, we were talking about, other jobs, other ways of income, and tricks, and stuff like that. I don't know how the conversation got to tricks and having sex and stuff like that for money and stuff like that, but the conversation definitely did switch. The African dude was talking about how the most he paid for some coochie was $1,000, and he was like, if it looked good, I'm definitely gonna buy it, and try to talk to me, I guess, to hook up and do that type of shit, and I was not going for it. He asked me for my number. I politely declined. So I definitely feel like the people that they hire are very unprofessional. They're, especially with them being messy in the workplace. How are you gonna talk about people that they just hired or your coworkers, and y'all only been working there a year or two? None of y'all are managers. I understand the manager is probably talking mess, but the fact that you're a regular employee, a regular coworker, what are you doing? you know. 3 weeks ago, I was used and lied to. Wouldn't recommend this to any company or my enemies. She would never respond when I would immediately respond to her. It was just always just to try to show a paper trail, unprofessional. So yeah, I would not recommend this company to anybody, y'all. Definitely avoid this company at any cost. I really do hope they shut down. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna see you guys